twice, my shooter in the VIP. 10th grade, bought a frame, peel off licks. Pack set, feel like I'm cruising on the ship. It's your birthday, put some ice on your wrist. I reached every goal, had to write another list. I'm stroking on toe, I just biting on the lip. I fly across the globe and I call another hit. They watching cause they know how slimy he can get. I'm running to the top, I'm bottom of the ditch. Your favorite rap burn and he running out of hits. Say the wrong word, I'm shoot him in. Just a big dog, you a poodle, I'm a pit. My choice is dog just as far as I can spit.
Hello YouTube, welcome back to another episode of KLA Sports. I'm your host Kyle Alexander, and we are finally back. I know it's been a while. My last video was my last and final mock draft. I know it's been a while, just busy with online school, with the times that we're living in. But I'm out of school now, so I can crank out all the videos y'all want to see that I need to get out. But yeah, it's gonna be this video. We're gonna talk about basketball for once. I know I haven't really covered basketball this year, but it's just I just been more interested with football. But now that is not the case, as the NBA officially stated that they are returning. I'm gonna put the tweet up right here from Woj, and basically the NBA, I believe the owners voted it was 29-1 vote on the bringing back the NBA in the 22 team format. So now that we have that, now that NBA's back, we have some sports to look forward to. I'm gonna break it all. I'm gonna break it down for you guys. Tell you guys all the details that you need to know, like key dates. How many games are going to be played, how everything's situated, stuff like that. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. So now, like I said earlier, it's 22 teams, 9 teams from the East and 13 teams in the West. The location that the games will be played at is Disney World in Orlando. And here are some of the key dates. So I'll pop them up on the screen right here. Alright, so July 31st, we have the NBA returning. Then a couple weeks later, August 25th, we have the NBA Draft Lottery. And we'll see who gets the number 1 pick, who possibly gets LaMelo. We don't know how it's going to play. That's just going to be interesting. Then October 12th is the latest that the season can end, and that is if the NBA Finals goes to a Game 7. So the season won't be end no later than October 12th. Then 3 days after, on October 15th, you have the NBA draft. And then 3 days after the draft, you have the start of free agency. So that's when you can make your big money moves, try and improve on what you need to improve on, try and get better. And then December 1st is when the new season starts. So that's when everything, that's when, we get basketball back, and we get to see next year if AD stays with the Lakers, which he probably will. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So those are the important dates. Now we're gonna talk about the teams that are involved. So the current playoff team. So all the teams that are in are the current playoff teams and teams that are within 6 games of the 8th seed. So that is why in the East is only 1 team, and in the West, you got 5 teams. So these are the teams right here. I'm going to pop up the standings right here, actually. So in the East, you got the Wizards as the 9th seed. And then in the West, you have the Trailblazers, Pelicans, Kings, Spurs, and Phoenix Suns. Now, as far as games that are played, it will be 8 regular season games added to the previous record that the teams held before the suspension, and there may be a play-in tournament to determine seeding. Now, there's also a limited number of staff around. It's around 10 people. The rule is that it's no more than 10 people in a room. With Corona and stuff like that. But it's around 10 staff members, and there will be no audience there. And the league is also looking to use 2K crowd noise to simulate the fans. So we're basically going from a live crowd, or we're basically we're it's a simulation. So to simulate the fans, we're gonna use a simulation of the fans. I know it sounds weird, but just think about that. It's kind of weird, but I think it'll be interesting. You know, it's not gonna be the real thing, and that's another thing. Like players may be able to focus because I mean, yeah, it's crowd noise, but they know that the actual crowd isn't there. So that's just gonna be something interesting to see. Now, players have to stay in this sort of bubble campus, sort of, to speak, if that's the way to go about it. You know, like just like a big old bubble, like a tent, sort of like a campsite, pretty much, like a big campsite, and it has a capacity of 1,600 people. And each player, I believe, is allowed to bring 3 family members, max, to stay on campus with them, but they cannot leave. You cannot leave that bubble. Now, as far as the coronavirus, players will get tested for corona every day, and if a player tests positive, they'll go into quarantine for a 7-day minimum. So if you think of a playoff series, that's like 2 to 3 games. So he's saying if a big player, take the Jazz for example, right? Say if the time when Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell had it, say say that happened in the time of this season resume. I don't know what to go, but like back at this time where the season is coming back, and those 2 tested positive, they would be out for 7 days. Like they wouldn't be on the court for 7 days. And the Jazz, there goes the Jazz. Your best player is Mike Conley. No disrespect to Mike Conley, but the Jazz, we all know the Jazz top 2 players is Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. So you lose your 2 star players. That's going to affect a lot. So these players have to take this bubble. They have to take everything serious. Now, as far as the play-in tournament, so the play-in tournament will only happen if the 8th seed and the 9th seeds are within 4 games of each other. Then those 2 teams will play each other for the 8th seed. So going back to the standings, like you saw earlier, Portland is within 3 games of Memphis for the 8th seed. So those 2 would have a little play-in tournament, whereas the Wizards are 6 games behind Orlando, so they wouldn't have a play-in tournament. Now, this is how the tournament works. There's the 8th seed, since they're already in a playoff spot, you know, it's a sense to make it seem like the teams can work for the teams that are just right there for the 8th seed can work for it, but also to acknowledge the teams that already worked and are currently holding that 8th seed. So the 8th seed only has to win 1 game against the 9th seed, and they lock down that last spot. Now, for the 9th seed to get the 8th seed, they have to win 2 games. So back to the Portland-Memphis example, if Memphis beats them the first time, then Memphis locks down that spot and they're in the playoffs. Now, if Portland beats them twice, then Portland swaps spots with Memphis, and Portland ends up getting that 8th seed over the Memphis Grizzlies. So honestly, that is going to be another interesting thing, because now if you look at the West, not the West, the East, say for some reason the Nets, the Magic, say the Magic had a better record than the Nets, and then they end up moving to the 7th seed, and the Nets fell to the 8th. And then say the Wizards ended up having the Wizards had a good run, and now they're within 4 games of the Nets. Yeah, those 2 are going to be battling out. You got Bradley Beal. You're going to have Bradley Beal against possibly Kyrie if he's playing, but most likely against Spencer Dinwiddie and that impressive young Nets team, or that team with potential. So these situations, they're going to be interesting. I can't wait to see it. Now, the league is also looking for possible free agents to be signed, like a way for teams to sign free agents during this period, and also alternate players if somebody tests positive. Now you're probably like, yeah, you can just go to the bench, but say if like the Jazz example. So say like at this time, like when Donovan Mitchell and Gobert tested positive, say if that happened at this time, they would find a way to maybe sign like Dion Waiters if he was there, like basically sound like a shooting guard to come off the bench, or maybe be that starter fill in for those couple games that they'll miss. And Yeah, so I think I think that's another good thing about it. You know, they're still giving the free agents a way to get away back in the playing. So, so yeah, they're going to be possible free agents. Don't be again. Look for teams trying to sign players that are in win now mode, like the Lakers or the Clippers. Next up, now this other thing is has to deal with the coaches. So Adam Silver and Rick Carlisle, the Mavericks head coach, and he is also the president for like the coaches union. Both of those two are looking for ways to protect the coaches because in an interview, I believe, or yeah, like an interview, Adam Silver said something about being more cautious with the older population, which is mostly the coaches, and was talking about having coaches try to coach the team off the bench, and a lot of coaches were upset about that. Like, because you gotta think, if Popovich isn't there on the bench, like how are the Spurs gonna be coached? Now they do have Tim Duncan, but it's not like Popovich has got suspended or anything. Like Popovich is still there, so coaching while not being on the bench is not a great idea, and it just puts different teams at a disadvantage. And just to think is not going to work. Like, it's not NFL where you can just put up a headset and then just tell them what to do. Even in the NFL, they still have coaches on the sideline. So NBA, I just didn't. There were a lot of coaches upset with that because most coaches are in that older age bracket, and you got a team with younger coaches. It's not going to be fair. But so honestly, my solution that I would just have all the coaches wear gloves and wear a mask and gloves while they're on the sideline. Yeah, I know that doesn't do everything, but I mean it's better than nothing. So and that's been the norm for the last couple months. So why not? Now, now talking about injury, I want to move on to injury. This gives teams with injured players a chance to be at full strength. Like the Nets, they could get Kyrie back. Although Kevin Durant did announce that he won't play, he announced that his season is over. But you gotta think, it's some teams that haven't been at full strength this year. Like the Trailblazers. I know they're just missing one person, but still, Trailblazers think if they could get Jusuf Nurkic back, him and Hassan Whiteside, yeah, like move Whiteside to the bench or Nurkic to the bench, like if you want to manage his minutes, but that puts y'all at full strength. That way y'all can that team can be competing with the other top teams. Like if the Lakers still had DeMarcus Cousins, if he healed back in time, they would what's the name? That gives them good center play. So that's another thing I like about this idea because a lot of injured players had chance to do rehab and therapy, and now that the season's resuming, it's not because when the season's suspended, it's all like, oh man, I didn't get a chance to come back this year. But now some of them have a chance. So like I said, it just gives teams a better chance at competing, especially, and makes better storylines for that between the 8th and 9th seed. So that's everything. That's all the rules and the details about it. Now I would just give my thoughts on the situation or on this idea. I mean, I love it. I think it's a great idea. It's great that we the fans get basketball back. Not even just the fans. Everybody gets basketball back. All the players get to play, do their career, get paid, get the exercise. Is amazing plan for the fans, league, and the players. It's a three-way win. I'm gonna tell you why. So the NBA gets the ratings they need. They get the TV ratings that they have to get. The players get to finish what they started and have a chance to win it all, or not let this year go to waste. So teams like the Lakers and the Clippers, those are the two big teams. Like the Bucks, all those three teams were in win now mode, trying to win a championship. Now they don't have to have this year go to waste. They can go out there, finish what they started, and try and win a championship. See who wins the see who wins the chip. And then, like I said, the fans, we get entertainment, we get sports back. I know we all know all the fans, any sport just getting canceled. It was just, it was like heartbreaking because it's like it's like how you just cancel sports. It's just, you know why, but it's just the fact that this is like the first time we've had no sports on in a while. The two things we had the sporting event was the Last Dance documentary, which was amazing, and then the NFL draft, which is interesting. But it's like we don't have like an actual event. Now I know there were just some fights on. Like we don't. Even then, I believe like the first time UFC tried to do some fights, a player or a fighter tested positive. So it's like now basketball, which is one of the four major sports, we get that back. We have that entertainment, and that way quarantine's not so boring. And not only that, we get to see how this amazing season was going to finish out, because we were all looking forward to the season, especially with the Warriors breaking up, Kawhi winning a championship, then leaving, and then all the dynamic duos that paired up this off season or last off season. So yeah, we get to see how the season plays out. And another reason why this is good for the NBA, it also lets them start later and start the new NBA season later than how they usually start, so that way they don't have to compete with the NFL for ratings. Because that was another reason why I wasn't really too. That was the main reason I wasn't too into the basketball this year. I was watching NFL because basketball NFL starts in September, and then NBA starts October, November. Like October, November. So that's like middle. That's the middle of it. Whereas if you start in December, if basketball starts in December, you only have 2 months to share. Because January is playoffs, so most people are going to be watching the playoffs. Then after that, you can go right into basketball and still see the beginning and then see all the way to the end. So that's what I think. It's just a great idea. Plus, I've been hearing some people on Twitter. I've seen people on Twitter tweet out stuff saying, "Oh, the NBA should start later. Like they should start in December, so that it's not compete with the NFL and stuff." I think this is perfect because basketball is a winter sport. Most considered, it falls into that winter category. So if it starts later, you're not competing with the NFL mid-season, and what's the name? You're only competing. You got 2 months. You got the end of the season, then the playoffs, and then boom, you have the rest of the year. So yeah, I think it's just a great, amazing plan for the NBA, and it's just a win for everybody. So that is it for this episode. Also, I just want to show I did put a new intro into my video. I'm starting to use an intro. I've got your feedback on the intro video that I already posted. I just want to hear you guys' feedback if you like it, if you think it's if you think it's good, like if you like it, you want it to stay or not. But also let me know in the comment section below what are your thoughts on the NBA returning, and if you think who you think will win it all. I'm gonna save that for another video, the playoff predictions. But yeah, that's it for this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys next time.